Welcome to Ep.3 of the Denver Protests podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. We're trying out our first midweek episode here, prompted by the vigils that are happening for Jeanette Vizguerra. Bug had the idea that we wanted to make sure we got an episode out before next Monday because we do have a big one coming up. And we also just wanted to do a kind of quick primer about what's been going on. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, you almost certainly know who Jeanette Vizguerra is and know what's been going on in terms of these vigils that have been happening. But it is a hyper local issue. I'm honestly surprised there's not like more coverage of it, but we just wanted to make sure that we were getting this one out before the actual like larger vigil happened next Monday. But yeah, Bug, I mean, you've been way more plugged into all this than I have. So, or, you know, a lot of people that I know, you're super involved in this on the ground. So if you wanted to give us kind of a quick explanation of what's been going on and kind of give us the framework of all that stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, this is like a kind of a hyper local thing. Jeanette's been an activist and an organizer here in Denver for like 20 years, and she's just an really important part of our community here. And she was arrested on March 17th, which as of today is 106 days ago, and taken to the GEO facility in Aurora. Um, she was literally snatched on a work break out of nowhere. And as many people probably remember, back in the early, and I mean, the behavior has continued to now, but in the early high profile cases, there was a huge rush to get these people arrested and then get them moved out of state from where they were to places very far away to make it harder for lawyers and their family and just the world to keep track of them. And so there was actually a response immediately. There was a vigil, a vigil immediately, and people outside of GEO on the 17th and then into the 18th to kind of keep them accountable. And it worked. They were not successful in deporting her immediately or getting her even just out of Colorado or even out of Denver immediately. So she has been in GEO since March 17th. And every Monday since, there has been a group of community members out there. A different organization has sponsored each week, which has been really great, and it's just a testament to how much Jeanette matters to this community. Like I said, she's been organizing for a long time here. She's involved with SEIU, which is the Service Workers Union. She's involved with CIRC, which is the Colorado Immigrants' Rights Coalition. She's involved with the American Friends Service Committee. I think she's the founder of Abolish ICE Denver, and she was one of the key people in popularizing the phrase Chinga Migra, which basically means fuck ICE, fuck immigration. And it's just been horrible to hear from her week after week on the phone when we're able to talk to her about the conditions inside, the way they're treating people, the quick turnover and deportations, and just getting people out, getting the people that don't have the visibility like Jeanette Vizguerra has, like Mahmoud Khalil has, and all these stories that just go unheard, and these people that get forgotten.
I mean, we mentioned the visibility thing, like for anyone who might not know, and I'll be like, I had heard of Jeanette Vizguerra, but I don't think I knew the full picture, the full story. Like, I didn't know she was one of like Time 100's most influential people back in 2007 when they were first trying to get her deported. And it should be said that the stuff that they've been trying to deport her for are just like I think the first thing was like she was trying to get a social security card so that she could actually like work and provide for her family when she was here.
Yes. It was identity fraud. She did not steal an identity, she fabricated one. And that is what and that was back in 2009. They're trying to deport her for I mean frankly bullshit because anybody who's ever talked to people who have tried to go through the immigration process know that if you don't have money that it takes a long time and is nearly impossible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's all. Like trying to work, trying to feed her children because she's a mother of 4. Like,
well, and you mentioned that when she was arrested in March of this year, it was out. She was coming out of her job at a Target.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just
It was on a work
and
break.
her level of kind of notoriety. Like I said, she was on Time 100. She got this RFK Human Rights Award. Thing that I think is honestly kind of really baffling is that she doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I feel like they give Wikipedia pages to basically everybody. But for whatever reason, as of the time of recording this one, she does not have one, which I think is very surprising.
That feels wrong.
It feels wrong, and it feels like I don't know, somebody that, like I said, they give out Wikipedia pages for someone who's done a lot less and has been a lot less of a, public facing figure for such, contentious and in a lot of ways. I mean, like, just what can you even say about it? I mean, anything that I'm going to say is going to be try and repeat, but like the fact that they, meaning ICE and the federal government, are coming for somebody like this is just, it's almost too, it feels cartoonishly evil. Because she did that thing where she hid in the church. Shout out to First Unitarian Society Church of Denver for offering her sanctuary for as long as they did back in 2017. And I was doing a little bit of background reading about this, and this is cribbing from some CBS News article, but apparently a high up member of ICE sometime earlier this year said, quote, "We will come and get you, even if you have been named the Time Magazine's 100 most important people, we will come and get you." And it's just like, how do you not so clearly see yourself as the fucking evil person in that dynamic?
It's cartoonishly despicable.
It is. It really is. And this is not to say that anybody, who, you don't have to have been a labor organizer or to have founded all of these activist organizations to deserve the right to, live in peace and freedom from fear of deportation. We're not saying that. But the stark contrast of this person, again, being named to Time 100 most influential people, getting this human rights award, and then being detained and held in custody for this long is especially galling.
Yeah. And I mean, circling back to the visibility thing, that's been one of the beautiful things about these vigils is that they've become a platform for community members who don't have the same network of connections to be able to speak and connect with the community. And about a month and a half ago, there's a woman who was being held in ICE for 8 months. So that's, that predates the Trump administration, and had been fighting for her asylum case for 8 months. And she finally, through these vigils, they were able to raise enough money to pay the legal fees to actually get a competent lawyer who was actually able to win her case for her. And she has been released and is here and is back with her family.
That's awesome. I mean, what can you can't say enough about that, about everybody who's been involved and that everybody who's contributed to it and the lawyers doing that really important, valuable work. But yeah, I am curious. Tell us a little bit more about these vigils, if you don't mind, because I have not been able to get out to one, but I know that you've been going, I think, to almost every one, right?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be able to make it to most of them, not all of them, but most of them. and they're just really emotionally impactful evenings. We gather at 6, so earlier in the year, you know, it was as the sun was going down, and now we kind of are lucky enough to have the light for most of the evening. Um, but there's been a lot of music, there's been a lot of singing, there's been a lot of crying. We we hear from Jeanette almost every week on the phone. Um, there are evenings where they are they're denied access to the phones, um, which is, you know, the cruelty is the point. Um, and then we gather on the one point of the facility where there are there are 3 windows that on the other side are people who are being detained, and it's the only point that reaches outside like the facility for them. um I've been told they're actually the only windows that the people inside actually have access to, and the rest of the light that they get comes through sunroofs, um which is fucking horrific if true. Like, um
Yeah, and talking about like the conditions in the facility, I'm getting this from a Democracy Now article, because this facility is part of this private prison company called Geo Group, I believe,
yes.
and this is, you know, part of the intersection of the private prison industry that operates and makes money by keeping people detained, basically. Um,
Yes, they profit on every single minute that a person spends inside. That is why they fight so hard to keep people inside for as long as they can.
yeah, and like you were saying, like the facilities would, you know, they sound like absolutely nightmarish conditions to be putting anybody in, regardless of what it is that
Mhm.
you know, the people in charge claim they did to land them there. But how many people would you say have been attending these vigils? Has it grown in size since it started earlier this year?
Every week is different, honestly. Um, I'd say crowds have ranged from about 40 people up to almost 200. So I think it, you know, it depends on who's hosting, what is happening around that time. You know, around holidays, we've had less people. On hot days, less people. But there's a consistent crowd of regulars almost. Uh, you know, just a group of us who are almost always there. And it's been really great getting to know people that I haven't met before, but Jeanette matters to them, excuse me. A lot of people that are showing up, you know, are long time friends, long time activists alongside of her. And it, it it's honestly just kind of an indescribable space. Like, it obviously the reason we're there is horrible. It's a horrible fucking place. It's a God, it's a goddamn prison. And the reports that we hear from people on the inside and have long heard from people that come out of that place are, it's, you know, they're torturing them. Um, but to be able to come together with community, to be able to chant and sing and, you know, be able to wave to people inside and bring them a little showing of solidarity that, you know, they are not alone. No están solos. We'll be there as long as we need to be. Um, and the contract for this facility is up in October of next year, October of 2026, and there is a group called Shutdown GEO. I believe that's what they're called. Um, that is working to do that, and I don't have that information ready in front of me, but we will we will circle back to them at some point, because if we could shut down this fucking prison, it would be a boon to our community to be able to get rid of this place.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a wonderful group and a wonderful thing to try to set our compass point towards. But you were saying, talking about these different organizations have hosted the vigils at different times, right? Like there's a rotating cast of different groups that are kind of like putting on each vigil.
Correct.
Right on. Are there any of those that you want to shout out?
Yeah. Aurora Unido CSO was one of the early ones, and they've consistently also shown up when they are not hosting. Whether they show up with, like just a presence of the group, or just organizers that I know are with them. They've had a very consistent presence. Likewise, PSL has been, they hosted one, but then they've also had, they've had marshals present, especially for some of the larger ones. And then I know the 3 organizations I mentioned that Jeanette works with have all hosted, and those were wonderful evenings. I honestly, the group who hosted last night is called No Enemies, and they're a protest chorus, and it was one of the most emotional ones yet for me, at least, which is probably increased by the fact that my mom was able to go with me to one.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and the music, it was very, very music heavy. We were lucky enough to be led in song by Dr. Art Jones, who's the founder of the Spiritualist Project. And he led us in, pull it up, he led us in Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, which is a civil rights era song, which was actually a repurposed song from oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, words are failing.
That's all right. We'll come to. Well, it will. Well, you mentioned No Enemies as the protest chorus. Have they been around at other events?
I don't know if they've been to other events, but one of their main coordinators has been at these vigils pretty frequently, leading the music. Okay. That's actually he's actually one of the members of the Flowbots, which is a local hip hop group.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the last episode.
Yeah,
yep,
and
sure did.
He led a lot of the music last night too, and it was
okay.
It was a very impactful evening, and I know we'll probably have a whole episode in the future about protest music and how we can utilize that to, keep touch with our roots, but then also ground ourselves in the current moment.
Well, I was going to ask, was anyone, or has there ever been any representation from Notes of Dissent there talking about protest music?
I'm not sure. There have been some musicians here and there, but I don't know if they were with Notes of Dissent or if they were just individuals coming to bolster the vibe. Because honestly, I know there's a lot of debate about what's appropriate for a protest in terms of music and joy, and I am very pro music at protests. I think music brings us together, and we need to stay connected to our fellow humans when we're fighting this kind of fight.
And I also think, because these are explicitly framed as vigils, which I do think carries a little bit of a different tone than a protest. And again, I think it's worth saying at this point that neither myself or any other members of this podcast are involved or speak for any of the organizations that put on these events. I think it's worth clarifying that these opinions are our own.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that we're expressly clear, and nor are we trying to do anything like take credit for the work that
No.
the people who are putting on these events every week and who are going to the often mundane and mind-numbing and unglamorous work, very like administrative type stuff of getting people out there. So I just want to make sure that no one could accuse us of trying to steal the valor of the people who are actually not only, there on the ground as you have been, Bug, but the people who are going to the effort of putting on these demonstrations or are contributing to mutual aid funds for this type of stuff or anything like that. I just wanted to shout that out and make that explicitly clear. I'm curious though, what has been like has there been any kind of like law enforcement response? Like when these vigils are happening, is there like a contingent of either, you know, people from the facility or Aurora PD or Denver PD or anything like that?
So the very first evening, I know that there was. I know Aurora PD showed up in full fucking riot gear, like batons out, ready to, basically ready to start some shit. But it was just a bunch of people. Like, I mean, like they weren't, like nobody was trying to storm the facility or anything. It was just a bunch of really fucking angry people because, their loved one is now behind bars. And yeah. Um, and I know there was an issue with one person did initially get like detained that night for burning, I think for burning sage or some other herbal like medicine.
Hmm.
But and this was an elder, and they were released, like they were not charged with anything. Um, but it was just a testament to how ready APD was to act against like our comrades, and just how inappropriate of a response it was, because like we've, again, like I said, it's been crowds of 400 to 200 people, and we mostly gather to chant of solidarity. Like, yes, there's anger directed towards ICE and towards the government, but most of our chants are to remind the people inside that we are here with them,
Right.
and that the people united will never be defeated. Like, they can't take our community from us, even while they are physically trying to take our community from us.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, no, for sure. Uh, because I was just thinking about this, and you mentioned this idea of community and like Ms. Vizguerra's presence in the community, and
Mhm.
I'm struck because she's founded uh these activist organizations. She's been a member of SCIU. I believe she was an organizer with them specifically. And I'm just struck by the contrast that she has done so much more for the people of her community and for the people of this city than I'm willing to bet anybody involved in trying to get her removed has, by orders of magnitude.
Yes, she was involved in the Araria Palestine encampments. She's been a long time advocate for Palestine. She's an advocate for, queer rights. Like, she's out there in the streets showing what intersectionality is all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so I guess it's good that there hasn't been any kind of super violent police response at these vigils. Obviously, that is a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
and it's encouraging that they've been able to maintain their momentum for so long. I think that's definitely an encouraging thing to see. And but there is a big one or a different one or a unique one coming up this Monday, right?
Yes, I'd say it's fair to say it's a big one. The idea is to have all of the organizations that have hosted one of these in the past to come together and host one all together. So, PSL, Aurora Unidos, FRSO, SCIU, Dasher has been involved, CIRC, the American Friends Service Committee. Oh God, we have so many organizations in Denver. It's kind of amazing. I can't actually remember everybody who's hosted one off the top of my head.
Lots of organizations, lots of acronyms.
Yes. Oh, DACAC, I want to shout them out. The Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, which does a lot of work around the police and trying to wrest control of the police and get that back into community hands so that we have more power over the policing that happens in our communities. Personally, I'm an abolitionist, so I would like to see the police go the fuck away and us come up with a different way to protect our communities. But I think it's very good work that they do.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely. So this one is at a different time than the normal vigil, is that right? Yeah.
Yes. It's going to be from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So kind of like a whole afternoon affair. And again, that's July 7th, Monday, July 7th. And the ICE facility, the GEO group facility, more accurately, because honestly, they don't deserve to get off the hook just because it's ICE that's doing the arresting.
No, they sure don't. Is it Geo or GEO? I think I've been saying Geo this whole time. Does it go by?
I don't know, and I don't respect it enough to care.
We're not going to step on it. Yeah, we should learn what it is and then say the opposite of whatever it is.
Yes, purposeful disrespect.
Yes, but no, sorry, you were giving out there.
No, you're fine. The address for the facility, the prison, is 3130 North Oakland Street in Aurora. So that'll be on Monday at 3 p.m. I will absolutely be there. I don't know if I'll be there at 3, but that's kind of the beauty of a 5-hour event is you can come for what you can come for, and nobody expects you to be available for the whole time. Like, show up if you can, please. They're really, really amazing actions. Like, just being grounded in community in that way, and especially last night, just all of the civil rights era songs that were rooted in enslaved people's fight for their own liberation. Like, it's pulling from our ancestors. I mean, not that these are not my ancestors, but pulling from our roots as activists, as civil rights fighters, as people searching for justice in an unjust world, building on the momentum of the people who have come before us gives us so much power.
I cannot agree more. I think it's important to remember that we're part of a continuum, in whatever way people are involved in this.
Yeah. I could speak to that on a personal level. I mentioned my mom was there with me last night, and it was kind of surreal to be singing like "We Shall Not Be Moved" and "Wade in the Water," knowing what a key role those songs played in the civil rights movement. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, was a freedom rider, and she unfortunately she passed before I was born. Which is a grief point for me, but getting to stand there with my mom and sing songs that I'm sure my grandmother sang in a fight for justice that long should have fucking been over. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, we should not still be fighting the fight that our ancestors fought. But here we are.
Yeah.
No, go on.
No, I was gonna say that's awesome about the family history. By the way, I think that's such a deep source of support. I mean, I personally think that these kind of fights and tensions and the clashes of justice versus injustice will probably never really be over, you know. So I think it's something.
That's fair.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I obviously completely hear your point that there's issues that you would have hoped would have been resolved by now, but you know, there's this idea of like this inherent and in some ways it feels intractable or at times insurmountable clash between, you know, for lacking a more precise term, people who are good and people who are bad. And we can expound on those pretty sloppy terms
Yeah.
in future episodes. But right on. So that's the Unified Vigil coming up July 7th, 3 o'clock out there in Aurora. If you're able to make it, definitely please do. It will be a great way to show support for what I think is going to be looked on as one of the more impactful is not exactly the word I'm looking for, but one of the more remarkable instances of this type of shit happening like in our backyard. Like this is you know, this is definitely one of those things, at least to me it feels like anyway, that it's going to be like, oh yeah, like I remember where I was when I heard that this person in my city who was, you know, a community activist was rounded up and hauled off as a political prisoner in like literally broad daylight outside of a fucking Target of all fucking places. But
Yeah. On her work
yeah,
break.
I mean, what can you even say? So right on, man. I think we got anything else? Where are we at?
Actually, I do.
Nice.
There has been a new protest announced, and there has been an update to a different one that we talked about. So on the 4th, we mentioned that there is going to be a powwow at the Capitol. They have moved that back from being it was going to start at 12 p.m. It will now start at 4 p.m. and go until 9 p.m. And then and that's Rise and Represent doing that. And then also on the 4th, Denver Anti-War Action, which is an anti-war group that does a lot of pro-Palestine advocacy here, is hosting an action. I'm sorry, I do not have this right in front of me. Okay, sorry. It's the action is called Up with Palestine, Down with Palantir. They will be gathering outside of Palantir's headquarters, which is at the Tabor Center at 1200 17th Street. And yeah, so that just got announced since we recorded the last episode.
That's awesome. I mean, what could you ask for more if you're somebody who is like interested in this kind of stuff, for you know, things to crop up and get going and, you know, be announced and published and organized so quickly. And again, just want to reiterate that we have nothing but the deepest respect and admiration for the people who are doing the actual incredibly hard work of getting these events organized. We're just trying to give them a little bit more. I think the, you know, douchebag term would be signal boost, whatever you want to call it. But, and God knows they don't need it. You know, there's 1,000 places to get that information, but you know, we do what we can. So here we are.
Every eyeball matters, you know.
Or earball.
Or earball, yes. Sorry, that is the adding ball on the end of random objects is a word pattern I do, but I don't think I've done it. I just yeah. But no, like I was actually talking about this with somebody who's involved with CORN, which is the Colorado Rapid Response Network for ice sightings. And I was talking with them last night about like what I do, like for activism, and like how a lot of what I do is just getting information to people, because a lot of like, you know, organizers want to plan actions, and handling the administrative bullshit like is exhausting. And you know, if we can help a little bit by getting information from a wide swath of organizations, a wide, you know, dare I say, intersectional platform, like
Dare you?
dare I, as my trans Jewish ass. Very intersectional. But yeah, like bringing all the information to one place to make it easy for people to find. That's what we do. We don't organize protests at this point, and we do not seek to take credit for the protests we do not organize. Please do not give us credit.
Yeah, no, we're just trying to, just trying to
Help.
help out in whatever way that we can. So I think that does it. I said
Yeah.
that the last time they'll need one other thing, but I want to make sure I'm not cutting this off. So
No, I appreciate it. We are certified yappers. Um, but yeah, I think that does it. I will just again reiterate that these vigils have been just some of the most amazing actions I've ever been to in my 10 years of activism, because the community there is what makes it so impactful. And if you can make it out sometime between 3 and 8 p.m. on July 7th, please, please do. We would love to have you.
yes, please do. And I know that we're coming up on it here, but quick plug. We are affiliated with the Denver Protest subreddit, the Denver Protests Discord threads, other social media platforms,
Instagram and Blue
Instagram,
Sky.
Instagram, and Blue Sky. Also, I'll put a shout out there for anyone who has questions, comments, or concerns, or input, or feedback, or whatever. We're always hoping to hear from you guys. Like I said, I think we make this joke every week, but we are approaching the 10 subscriber count. So we're so close to being able to field a functioning baseball team. So we're right there, guys.
I believe in us.
All right. Bug, I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for the time.
Catch you on the flip side.